It looks like we have a few people in the chat already, so please let me know if you can hear me. That's always good to check. And let me know where you're from. So today we have a couple things going on. I will probably talk a little bit about choosing a niche. That's a hot topic lately. I actually did a live 5-day challenge, finished up today. Let me know in the chat if you were able to attend. If you were part of the 5-day challenge, that'll be cool to know. And the other thing is I launched a course today. So multi-profit site is out and you can enroll. There should be a link in the description. I think I had the forethought to do that. And you know what? I must have not hit save. So let me go ahead and put the link in here so people can get to it. And we have Tanya from Minnesota. And then, and we got some of the crew. Some of the crew is here. So David's on with me again, which is awesome. So thanks for the folks that were on the 5-day challenge. Super cool. And sorry, I'm just trying to get a couple things settled in here. It's been a whirlwind of all sorts of activities. So definitely trying to catch up overall. And I think we got the link in here. I just have to click save. And Marty is in from Melbourne. And then we have Jack from Chiang Mai. Cool. So good to have the crew here. And it's going to be sort of a casual day. I don't have many clips to show. I thought about showing some from the 5-day challenge, but I think I may just kind of chat with everyone, because I think some of the people like David, maybe a couple other folks, were actually in the 5-day challenge. So that would just be a repeat. So I'll probably actually tell you a little bit about the 5-day challenge and just like planning it if people are interested. Of course, I'll answer some questions. I am going to tell you all about the new course. So David, that will be a repeat for you, but there's no way around it. So, and there were some pretty good questions out there as far as like, what's the difference between the new course, multi-profit site, and 5-figure niche site. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. And like I said, I'll hit some questions out there. In fact, I think we're going to have like a pretty light crew. I have noticed, for whatever reason, for maybe it's the way I'm running these sessions and the same title that I'm using over and over again, but there are way fewer people on these sessions than there have been. So I'm not 100% sure why, but for a little period, it's kind of funny, for a small stretch, when Amazon changed their commission rate, it was through the roof. There were, 2, 3, 4, 5 times more people on for many of the sessions, and now it sort of dropped back down. The other thing is I haven't been publishing very keyword-rich videos out there, just in general, but I plan on stepping that up a little bit in the future. So, we got Jaron on as too. Jaron on here as well too, I should say. So this week, on a personal note, we were supposed to have landscapers do our backyard, and it's been on the calendar for, I think, over a month. We paid half, and it's a good company. It's one of the good ones around here. However, they just didn't show up. They just didn't show up on Monday, no notification or anything. And they're working all through the neighborhood here. It's one of the more popular companies. But yeah, we thought they were going to be coming through. Now, it actually worked out okay because I was a little nervous. Outside this window right here is a lot of the area where they would be doing work. So I thought it could be quite noisy. There could be some heavy machinery out there making noise while I was trying to do the 5-day challenge. So anyway, I will mention a few things about the 5-day challenge. So I've heard of these in the past, and I haven't done one before live, but typically I would send out sort of the same kind of concept via email. So the idea is you're kind of going through the first few steps of like a process, the thing that you're doing in your course, and you lead people to the point where the course is the next logical step. It's helpful material. It's helpful to go through, and I think the people that were on, I got pretty good feedback, overall. Participation dropped each day, kind of interesting. So participation dropped each day, but there were a lot of people that were, working through the material, which is great. A lot of people showed up live, and yeah, it was pretty impressive just getting it all together. It actually took me way more time personally to write the material, write the scripts, and kind of get everything together. But because I've done these live streams for so many months, for years at this point, it wasn't too bad. There were a couple technical issues, but because I have done many of these before, you just have to roll with it. And I think the folks that were on saw, a couple like hiccups here or there, but at one point the software crashed, but not all the way. So I was unable to click or operate my live streaming software, which has been absolutely bulletproof for months. I've used this over and over again, bringing on live guests. In fact, I now record my Skype interviews using the software because it does the things that I needed to do, and it does it a little bit better than the other piece of software. So it's not made specifically to do Skype interviews or anything like that, but it actually is a better system, and it runs more smoothly, and it's a little bit faster in general. And instead of just having a couple of guests on, I could actually bring on multiple guests, and technically I could do a Facebook Live, or there's actually a few different other options aside from just YouTube. So with that said, we made it through, and it was just fine. Gustavo's on, and Bradbury. We got Ahmed as well. So I will tell you now that I have the link in the description. If you are interested in the course, I partnered with the Internet Marketing Gold group. So you'll notice the URL is via their course system. And thank goodness, because they actually managed all the tech stack and a lot of the details. So I'm purely the talent on this one, which is really nice, because usually I do all that stuff on my own. And there's a lot of things to test and do, and setting up products and making sure the funnel works and a link. There's a million things going on. But anyway, they handled that stuff, which made it a lot easier. But again, the challenge was like a ton of work on its own, aside from the course material, which I'm still working on. I'm weeks ahead, but I'm still working on. There's many hours of video out there. So, and Ahmed, I'm doing pretty good. What's up, Joseph? And yeah, and David is mentioning the IMG is impressive. Yeah, it's a really like smart group of people. Kyle Roof, Ted. I always forget how to pronounce his last name. K. It starts with a K. It's like Kabatis, something like that. Sorry, Ted. And then Andy Steven, who I've been working with. He's like my point man, and he has a team working with him. So anyway, I'm gonna do my little pitch here for the course, just to let you know what's in there. And I'll also highlight, because I know I have some students of 5-Figure Niche Site in the chat, I'll let you know sort of the differences. And this course is basically a step-by-step system to create a multi-profit site. And actually, I'll throw it in here right now. 5-Figure Niche Site is primarily focused on Amazon. There's some ideas, and in fact, I added a unit to sort of aid you in working with different affiliate programs, potentially display ads, and giving you some strategies to diversify your revenue. However, this course is, number one, it's newer. I'm shooting it now in May and June of 2020. And also, from the beginning, it's oriented towards multiple income streams and a more diverse, defensible business. It is 8 or 13 units for the premium or in advanced members, right? So there's a couple different packages. And again, it's focusing on building a site from scratch, and basically it's stripped out over the course of 8 weeks. And I walk you through it step by step. Now, the biggest, perhaps the biggest difference between this and 5-Figure Niche Site is I'll be building a site along with you. So you'll be able to see what I'm doing, the progress that I'm making, what the site looks like, how I'm formatting the content, and so on. I'm going to be telling you, I'm using this theme, here are the plugins. And in fact, sneak peek, I mentioned it, I think to a couple people, but for most of the videos are sort of talking heads, and I'm teaching something. There's a portion of the videos that are like that. I would say there's a lot. I'm not sure if it's half, but there's a lot of over the shoulder videos where I'm showing you, here's the tool I'm using, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it. And while I'm building out the site, I probably will have some like sort of behind the scenes situations where it's more of a vlog style where I'm like, hey, here are my notes. This is what I'm thinking about doing. And I'm kind of leaning this way or I'm leaning that way. I've never built a live site, especially like where people can get to it and analyze what I'm doing. So probably risky. I'm not sure if I'm going to have issues with either like copycats, or at some point it's just going to be general knowledge. It's just going to be out there in the world. So the cool part, there's a few fast action bonuses here worth roughly $1,200. So there's a lot of free bonuses in there. And number one, it's a deadline. It's a deadline situation. So if you purchase by Monday, June the 15th at midnight Pacific time, you'll get Kyle Roof's best-selling on-page SEO course. That's an $800 value. It's only for advanced and premium students. I'll also audit your brand new site once you publish 20 articles. That's a $250 value. And again, that's for advanced and premium students only. The last bonus is 1 month access to the Internet Marketing Gold Inner Circle, and that's for all the packages. So actually, there's a huge amount of value for just those bonuses. So hopefully that'll encourage people to pull the trigger. And I can tell you that let me start that again. I can tell you the audits will sell out. So I'll do a 10-minute review of your site. I'll take a look. I'll identify common mistakes, let you know things that might hold it back, like the content, maybe keyword selection, conversion points, perhaps calls to action. Or if you have specific questions, then I can personally have a look and get you help on what you need. So there's a limited number of those, as will obviously take me a lot of time to review someone's site, create a video, send it over to you, and all those details. So the other part is I will check out your site once it is launched with 20 pieces of content so that I have something to look at. So anyway, those fast action bonuses are available till the end of the day on Monday, June the 15th. And I will answer a few questions today, so feel free to ask along. So, and again, digression here. I'm gonna tell you, it's been hot. It's been hot around here for a few days. It's in the 90s, very sunny. Good. It's great in the mornings because it does get cool. We're up roughly at 5,000 feet, so it does get cool at night, and the mornings are great. It gets cool in the evening, but during the day, the sun's so intense. It is so intense, and I get sunburned, so I have to put sunscreen on, which is interesting. If you listen to the podcast, you probably heard me recently complain about, like, oh man, I got to put all this sunscreen on, but it just doesn't feel good, and I need to wash it off because when I'm doing work in front of the camera, it looks very shiny. It's just like, it looks weird, and I'm already, shiny enough. So kind of odd, kind of odd overall. But okay, here's what's in the course. Unit 1, I go over the big picture and how much you can earn, how long it takes to earn, how to use the course for best results, and what to expect. In Unit 2, I get into niche selection and keyword research. I go over a lot of the, I guess, like core components that lay that foundation, especially like selecting a niche that will give you the option to have many products. And we're talking about physical products, different affiliate programs. And again, the whole point of this course is multiple profit streams. Unit 3 is around competition analysis, and that goes hand in hand with the keyword research, and it helps you narrow down your potential keywords in general and narrow down your niche choices, because you probably will have brainstormed many of them. And you'll develop a bit of an intuition about your niche and how to interpret the results in the SERPs, and you'll be able to use my exact competition analysis process. And it's a pretty nice spreadsheet. We go over setting up your site in Unit 4. Basically, talk about themes and keeping it simple. Got a baseline set of plugins to make sure things roll smoothly. And then Unit 5 is around content creation. I share all my templates. I show you how to hire people. I'll be showing you how I write myself, because I'm probably going to be doing a good chunk of the writing on the site that I'm building because I'm interested in the topic. I already know what it is. I'm not going to be sharing it publicly. It'll just be inside the course. And Unit 6 is all about monetizing, working with the different affiliate programs, display ad networks, and we'll go over what to do if you don't find a public-facing affiliate program out there. And I actually have like an exclusive contact that it's a marketing company that helps publishers like us work with big brands to get preferred commission rates and brand deals. So it's pretty cool, and it's not proprietary information, but it is sort of protected and exclusive information. So it's not available like at large. Last, funny, it's not last. It's not last. This is just the middle of it. So Unit 7 is about promotion, outreach, and link building, and basically working to get traffic. Unit 8 is about scaling up and expanding your site, perhaps building more sites, and start thinking like a manager or a CEO versus a side hustler. Units 9 through 12 are for advanced or premium students only. And Unit 9 is outsourcing content with scaling in mind. So this is how to hire a team of writers to pump out content without getting overwhelmed. And it's way cheaper than hiring an agency, by the way. And generally the quality is going to be much, much better. Unit 10 is about what to do if you are stuck. It will help you assess where you are and what to do to make faster progress. Unit 11 is about list building. So how to build a list, how to attract your visitors to sign up for your list, and actually more importantly, what to write in your emails, subject lines, and basically what to do with that email list. And finally, Unit 12 is around how to sell a site for over 6 figures. So I go over 2 case studies where I share my findings and give you some tips and strategies to help stage your site and get ready to sell your site in the future. So if you are interested, there is a link in the description so you could check it out. And again, the fast action bonuses are pretty awesome. Those will go away. The other thing that actually I didn't even emphasize at any point that I've mentioned this, basically the course is at half price right now for the launch. It will not be that price in the future. It's going to go up. So this week is the only time to get it at that price. And cool. And I see Ahmad has a question here. So I think I could switch cameras. The lighting behind me may be a little rough. Yeah, a little rough. It's all right. So how many times do you use the target keyword within the article, including the title as well? It depends on the keyword. A lot of times once in the title and once in the body, so 2. But it depends on the kind of keyword and the kind of content. So there are actually tools out there that make it much easier to figure out like what you should be doing. So Page Optimizer Pro is one of them. Munir says, do you recommend using AAWP for comparison tables and other stuff? Does a plugin increase conversions? No, I don't recommend AAWP at all. I don't actually like that plugin much. And based on my understanding, it actually has several points where it's actually violating the terms of service for Amazon. So I would look out for that. I think maybe it's not checked on too often, but I would look out for it. AmaLinks Pro is a great plugin where they basically built the plugin with Amazon compliance in mind. And then the other that you should check out is Lasso. So you're asking, does it improve conversions? Well, it can. It might improve conversions, but if your conversions are really good already, then maybe it's not going to help at all. Tables are generally good though. Tables typically are a good idea. I usually will build a table with HTML using an HTML table generator. So if you go to, I don't have the link handy here. Nope, I sure don't. But basically, go to nichesiteproject.com/FAQ, or actually, there's a video on tables. So yeah, tables and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't like AAWP personally right now. And Aman asks, can I use Web 2.0 for affiliates? I think technically it is allowed, but I would recommend that you don't do that. I'm not sure. You need to check the terms of service for whatever website, whatever blog you're trying to work with there. So, Steve, what's going on? Have I ever used Content Ag Pro? No, I haven't. I have heard of some people that use Content Ag. I'm not sure about the Pro version, but I know some people used it, and depending on what they were trying to do, it was helpful just in general. But yep, I've never used that myself. And I guess one thing I can do here that I did pop up earlier is, nope, that's wrong. There we go. So if you follow the link, it takes you to multi-profit site with Doug Cunnington. You can see the fast action bonuses here. And there's a lot more information throughout the sales page to give you many more details, probably some people that you recognize from the channel, success stories. So it kind of lays it out just how you need it. So, and I've talked about it a lot already. So, and I guess the big thing, the premium, is there's one-on-one coaching. So it's the full package, one-on-one coaching. And the course, there's some bonus modules and a lot of stuff. I think one of the cool things is the what to do if you're stuck. So a lot of people are like, hey, I want to increase this or do that. So it's a great way to run a gap analysis, kind of figure out where you're at, and then take it from there. So I'm not going to go over the whole sales page here. Again, I gave you a good overview. So if you're interested, you could check it out a little bit more. And if you're on the email list, I'm going to be emailing you about it next week a whole lot more. So hopefully you won't get tired of hearing about it. And I'm not sure. I was looking at my camera earlier, and I'm not sure, but it's almost like the sensor is goofed up. Like it looks a little blurry in certain areas, like at least on my feed. So I'm not sure. Okay. Joe says, the multi-profit site teaching sounds amazing. Thanks. But what if your niche has been lumped under the large umbrella of unapproved products by Google, meaning no monthly search data is available? Oh, wow. I'm not sure about that. So can you use Google Trends to look up any of the trend information? So I haven't bumped into that myself. I didn't even realize there were terms that are just not in the... Oh, thanks, Jaren, for letting me know about the camera stuff here. All right. Maybe it's my monitor. I'd rather the monitor be messed up than my camera. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. It's just like the black doesn't look as black. It's almost like it was on, like the camera was on for, a few hours as I'm doing all this stuff. And it could have technically overheated and stuff, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's like the black isn't as black as it should be, like right in this area here. And then there's also, the other thing, there's this little light here on my microphone. And I was like, I wonder if that's the thing that's, you could see that there, the little blue jewel light thing. Yeah, so maybe, no, I still see. Anyway, we'll move on. You guys seem happy with it, so I need to just move forward here. So I don't know, Joe, I'm not really sure. I wasn't aware. I thought search volumes are available for almost all products, but I guess if it's unapproved by Amazon, then no one would run ads, and that's how the search volume data is generated. So yes, I am not sure. I'm not sure about that. So in that case, there are other ways to sort of figure it out. So the course and in general, most people will direct you to, keyword search volume will give you some idea. It's not the exact number, of course, it's just an estimate, but generally you'll have some idea about the market. So if you can figure out if there's a big enough market, then you'll probably be okay. So in that case, you would actually, no one has the search volume, so you're all competing on level ground. And the other part is, let's see, you can check out YouTube channels, podcasts, forums, Facebook groups. If there's a large community of people, then there's going to be a market out there for the products and that sort of thing. And I see Marty ask a question. Actually, I meant to talk about this. Am I back on the coffee? So for the people that don't know, and Steve mentions I maybe had too many Pilsners. Could have been. That could have been something. But for the people that don't know, about 3 weeks ago, I was traveling a little bit, and it was a good time to stop drinking coffee. I realized that I wasn't sleeping as good, and I was drinking a large amount of coffee in general. And basically I was like, hey, I'm going to kick coffee for a little while and see how it goes. So it took a couple days, but my sleep, I would sleep through the night, and typically in the past I would wake up in the middle of the night at some point and have trouble falling back asleep. But even if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would typically fall right back asleep off of the caffeine. So I was off of caffeine for, I guess, 3 weeks, and 2 times this week I had, basically I have like decaf and caffeinated beans. So I made about 25% caffeinated. So I ended up probably having the equivalent of half a cup of coffee, and I didn't feel any like huge, jolt of energy or anything jittery. It was definitely manageable. However, the 2 days this week that I had that little bit of coffee, the following night, I woke up in the middle of the night and had a little trouble falling back asleep. So it does seem suspect, especially I had such a small amount of caffeine. So we'll see how it goes. I will test it a few more times. And I was kind of trying to figure out how much the caffeine in the coffee was impacting my sleep. And I think it's pretty clear that, I'm sleeping much better. My average night sleep went from, under 7 hours to over 8. So it's pretty clear that there's a pretty big difference with what's going on. And I do like coffee. So I'll probably have coffee occasionally and probably move mostly to decaf most of the time. I've been having herbal tea and, actually just herbal tea. And then the couple times I had coffee. And other than that, I haven't had caffeine in weeks. So, okay. Jaron says, I recently tried out reaching out to companies whose products for affiliates I'm reading this poorly, but basically Jaron reached out to companies asking if they'd be willing to match commissions, and you've had good response. Have I tried it? So yeah, that actually works well. And I've heard as I've talked to people about doing that, basically everyone has a pretty good response. Generally, most of the time, the companies are going to be able to make more money. Even if they pay you a higher percentage, they're going to make more money not selling through Amazon. Not always, but a lot of times there's, fees that these companies have to pay. And if they can sell it directly, they don't have to pay Amazon. And like if you can, connect with those companies and work out some kind of deal, because Jaron, now at this point, you have contacts and potentially they would want to do like a sponsored post or sort of a larger brand deal versus just earning affiliate commissions. They want to get their name out there. And if you have the traffic on your site, then you can chat with the company and their competitors and figure out what works. It's a lot more work, of course, but it's really hard for someone else to replicate that. Really tough. I mean, they would have to go through all the motions, and some people are just not willing to do that extra work and manage the relationship, do the networking. You'll probably have to set up some form of a contract so that you guys will be able to work together. Oh, so Jaron says, to clarify, you ask the companies to manually match the commissions Amazon is giving you manually at the end of each month. Gotcha. Okay, that is totally different. So I haven't done that before. Okay. So you're getting paid out by Amazon, and then you're going to the company and saying, hey, will you pay the same as Amazon is paying me? Interesting. And then I take it there's competitors so that you have some leverage. Yeah, that's really cool. That's awesome. Very awesome. I haven't heard of that, but that's definitely a good way to take it. Now, and I wonder, do they have an affiliate program? Like, is it better to work with Amazon and then just have them pay you manually? That's pretty cool. All right. And any other questions out there? Good questions, I hope. Good questions. All right, I can point out a couple things. One video I did earlier this week was about things that you really don't need to work on when you're first starting your site. So it was based on a post that one of my students wrote, because she was like, hey, I thought I was really going to need to work on X, Y, and Z. And then it turned out I wasted my time by doing that, and I was stressing myself out. So there's several things where it's like you hear people saying you need to do this or that, and it turns out you should probably just ignore it in the beginning. And okay, so Jaron clarifies and says that I've asked 8 companies who I sell a fair amount for regularly. I mentioned the recent Amazon cuts and asked if they'd be willing to make up the difference. 4 of the 8 agreed. Very cool. That is very cool. Were they relatively big companies or smaller ones? Just curious. Yeah, I haven't heard of any sort of deal like that. Pretty cool overall. And I'm going to try to find a nice clip for everybody here. I know some people have seen like the full interviews, but sometimes people, don't see the full interview. So I was talking to, where the heck is this video? I'm looking at my files here. I was looking to play the one from Alex Cooper with publishing 85 articles for his site, Best Roof Box. So I know a lot of people follow Alex. They're watching. So I'm going to roll this clip. This is from a full interview. So if you want to check out the whole thing, then definitely go to my channel, find the interview with Alex. And actually I did a big teardown. There's a lot of videos on this Best Roof Box.
Okay, we're up to about 85. I've got a few more in the queue at the moment. They're just being edited and being written and whatever. I'm trying to add maybe 5 every couple of weeks, something like that. It really depends on my workload and how quickly my writers can get stuff over to me. I've got a big list of stuff that I want written, It's just a case of getting it written and getting it edited. I only have one editor at the moment and one writer, so it's a bit slow. But yeah, just regularly putting the content out. I mean, I've got the ambition of maybe getting it up to 200, 300, 400 articles. I don't know, as big as I possibly can. As I said, there is limitless really ideas in terms of the content that I can produce around roof boxes.
Very good. And it sounds like most of them are sort of product focused. Do you know the percentage of like product versus informational type content?
I'd say it's probably at least 85% product focused.
Okay.
Cool. There are a few articles that aren't roof boxes reduced. Aren't roof box focused, but I'm just trying to see if any of them are performing well in my analytics. Not really, no. They are generally all product focused. They're buyer's guides, I'd say.
How long are most of the buyer's guides?
They're between 1,000 and 2,000 words, something like that.
Okay. And have you experimented with like shorter content under 1,000 or very long content, maybe over 3,000 words? Just curious.
Yeah, I've got a few that are short, maybe 500-600 words. I've not got a couple of them, not got more than a couple of them. I've got a couple of long ones. I did a big guide on Thule, which is a big manufacturer of roof boxes. That seems to be doing okay, so I called that the ultimate guide to the Thule roof boxes, because I noticed there are a lot of questions in Google all around Thule, like are they waterproof? How do they make them? How do you pronounce Thule? All those. Was it Thule or Thule? I don't know. So I thought I'd package all those questions together into one article and call it the ultimate guide. But yeah, that's like 14th on my list of content that's pulling in traffic. So I don't know whether it's worth always investing in these longer articles. I don't know. I'm still kind of finding my feet, I guess.
Sure. And then, well, you sort of described like that particular ultimate guide. It sounded like you just did research on the questions and then answered those. Is that usually how you format such a guide, or was it that a one-off case?
That's normally how I'd approach it. Yeah, I'd see a lot of questions around a particular theme, and then I'd just use that as the subheadings within an article. So yeah, I could have had maybe 400 or 500, 600 word articles, but I thought in that particular case, I'd just put them all together into one and see what happens. Because I was hoping that quite often you see when people do a search on Google with a question, sometimes it's not the main title of that article that comes up, but there'll be a hot link on Google or a quick link that jumps you straight to that question on that article. And that's what I was kind of hoping to get, that kind of that extra little link that you get on Google where it's got the article, but then it's got, skip straight to the answer to this question.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I've achieved it on that article. I probably need to look into it a bit more detail. But yeah, It's bringing in some traffic and it seems to be doing the business.
Very good. All right. And that was Alex Cooper over at WP Eagle. He has a live case study with the best roof box. Again, I did a bunch of teardown videos and critiqued things and talked about this and that. And I can't remember if Alex published a recent update, but he's publishing all the time. So I would not be surprised if there's more info out there. And of course, you can go look at the site. Jack asks, would it be a good idea to add 100 to 200 more pages of 2,500 to 5,000 words per page to a site which has not performed well and the revenue is under $1,000? So, Jack, it's hard to answer that without knowing more information about the site. However, adding more content is a good idea. I would probably not publish 2,500 to 5,000 words per page. I would probably aim more for, say, 1,500 words, give or take, as you're adding a lot of content. And then you could come back and add more later. That'll allow you to add more articles more quickly and then come back to the ones that are doing pretty well. That is obviously a whole lot of content. I don't know how much content is already on the site, so it's hard to answer that. And then you mentioned it's not really performing well, so it's like, do you want to keep putting more and more into it, or what do you like? Why is it not working? You maybe need to analyze what's going on. It's hard to say. Colorado TRO says, I am a home improvement contractor in a specialized trade. I want to hire someone to interview me a few times and then turn it into bite-sized video content. Any ideas on how and where to find? I'm not 100% sure. I think there are probably like videographers and folks that do branding. So I would look for like branding and marketing companies. And if they don't do it themselves, they would know people that could pull it together. Because there's a few things that you need in place there. You would need like someone to record. You need someone to interview. It could be the same person, but sometimes those are different. Maybe it's the marketing director who's interviewing you, and there's like film crew around you doing it. So I'm not 100% sure, but if you start poking around with marketing companies that specialize in branding, that is kind of what you're looking for. And then usually the videographer will be able to do the video editing, turn it into a few clips and that sort of thing. So it's all around branding, and I would look at that, look in those areas. And Jaron says, just curious about what the largest site has been in terms of total articles published. So not much more than 1,000. And you mentioned, Jaron, that one of the sites that you're building is going to be massive. Any known issues with 1,000+ article sites? Not specifically. I don't know any specific, but I don't have much experience there. I know people like John Dykstra and Ron Stefanski. They have bigger sites. I think a few areas to look out for would be just making sure you're interlinking in an appropriate way throughout the site. I think with a site that big, you obviously have a ton of options to interlink, which is good, and create silos or clusters. So I think just that architecture would be interesting to investigate, but I don't know any specific issues. I think it's probably going to be okay. I'd potentially look out for like just WordPress running slow. So I'd make sure I'd have a pretty lean setup and a fast host and a lot of resources over on the hosting side. And Gaurav says, great to see you again from the IMG course. Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, it was a ton of work doing that whole thing. And most of the content, I think, we'll be able to reuse again, which is good. All right. Joe says, if you're looking to compete at the top of your niche, how do you get a rough estimate of how much content you'll need? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I think you can frame it in a few different ways. So you can look just at a few sites that you think you want to be at that point at some time in the future, and just look how much content they have. And then you maybe take an average and say, all right, in a few years, and you could see, probably how old their site is. You could say, oh, after 4 years, I could see I could have that much content. Maybe do an initial push where you publish a little bit more, a little bit faster. And then over time, maybe you could throttle it down. There's also other sites in great contrast, right? Look at Backlinko. So Backlinko, I haven't checked recently, but Backlinko doesn't have a lot of content just in general. It's usually long form, some sort of tutorial with a lot of marketing on the back end. So it has a lot of backlinks, and Brian Dean also has done a lot of YouTube videos. So those obviously help each other out, but he gets a lot of traffic very targeted for the specific products and services that he's trying to sell, but there's not a huge volume of it. In contrast, you can look at Neil Patel's site that has a ton of long form content, and it's also very authoritative and also targets the niche and the products and services that Neil's aiming for, but at the same time, completely different approaches. So you could take a different aim and see how it works. With that said, I think, Jack was saying, hey, should I publish 100 or 200 more pages? You maybe could say, hey, a long-term goal would be 200 posts. I'm going to break it down to smaller chunks, say 30 at a time. And then maybe after every 30 that you publish, you assess where you're at and you look at where you thought you were going to be at that point, how the results are shaping up. Because basically, if you commit to publish 200 and you're just going to put your head down and you're going to work on the 200 and you're not going to look up or check anything until the 200 is done, that's probably a mistake. You should probably aim for, again, 30. I'm just making it up. It could be 20, it could be 50, whatever. But do some number and then make sure you're moving in the direction that you thought you were going to be moving. Otherwise, you're just doing more of things that don't work, which obviously doesn't make sense. Art says, finding internal anchor text options. Any experience using the Yoast internal linking part of Yoast paid plugin versus Link Whisper? No. So I'm not a huge fan of the Yoast SEO plugin, and I do like Link Whisper. I'm an affiliate for Link Whisper. I think there's probably a link in the description for that. And I think because Link Whisper was created specifically for those things and then has gone through basically a year of iteration and improvements, I'm thinking, even without testing, that probably Link Whisper is going to do a better job of specifically what we're trying to do. So I would probably lean on Link Whisper, but I literally have no experience with that Yoast premium portion, and I am an affiliate for Link Whisper, so it's the most biased opinion you can get. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I get paid if I sell Link Whisper. So just that's a straight answer there. Jack says, in a given niche, why do some small giants with less than 35 pages and say 3,000 words per page outrank massive sites with longer pages and thousands of pages? So obviously I can't answer that specifically, but a couple things that a person would probably want to look out for. Number one, a lot of things can be said in 3,000 words. And depending on the topic, people maybe don't want to read 8,000 words when they can instead read 3,000 words. So there's a quality aspect. And then this comes down to the user interaction, which Google has been talking about more recently, where basically if you have a site that has people that are enjoying the content in aggregate over and over, more and more people are enjoying the content, spending time on the content, that is a good sign overall. So sometimes a longer post on a site that has more content doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. Sometimes it's a fluffy piece of content or not as well written. The other thing is the amount of content and the length is only one aspect. So you have the user interaction, which is really important, and then you also have the links. So a site like Backlinko has a crazy number of links. Neil Patel's site has a crazy number of links too. But Brian Dean spends tons of times marketing his articles. And I remember getting, emails from him, hey, I'm putting out a new post. Can you link to it? So he'll go out there and basically, go out and ask for links. And he's a well-known person. So a lot of times he would get those links. Pretty straightforward. Okay. But so there's many factors, and the length of the content and the number of pages is only part of it, because it could be a shitty site basically and have those higher metrics. All right, we're slowly creeping up to the 40s as far as attendees. Outstanding. Hit the thumbs up if you have a chance. And David says, are you an affiliate of Ahrefs? No, I'm not. So they apparently don't have an affiliate program that they open up, and it's a good tool, but it has its flaws in many ways. It's good for certain things. And then I think I pinged them in the last year or two. I can't remember. It's been a while. And they said, no, we don't have an affiliate program anymore. And I was like, all right. So, But they do have a good enough tool for many things, so I use it here and there. Oh, Vilo says, do I have a promo discount code for Carbonate? Vilo, no, I don't, but I do have a link in the description. And one thing, I haven't had time to dig in with this yet, but basically what I'm going to be doing, I need to check with Matt to make sure he's good with it, but I'm sure he doesn't care. Basically, I'm going to be putting together some custom CSS because the theme is very fast. It's very bare bones. It's a great framework, but I'm going to put together some CSS. I actually had someone help me out a little bit, which I probably need to check with him to make sure it's okay. But what I'll be doing is sharing my custom CSS so you could do some richer formatting. There's actually like a button class that's available, but Matt doesn't mention it in any of the documentation. So I'm probably going to be doing just some things that make Carbonate easier to use and a little more powerful. And then I'll provide those as a bonus for people that buy through my affiliate link. So Vilo, if you do buy through my affiliate link, that's awesome. I actually need to catch up with Matt soon. We've been meaning to have a beer, but I've been heads down working. He has too. But yeah, so if you check out Carbonate, let me know and I'll be able to share the CSS as long as Matt approves, but I don't think he's going to have any issue. Oh, Robin's on. Robin is actually going to be a guest on the show. So we recorded an interview the other day. It'll be coming out in a few weeks. Robin let me know in one of these chat sessions just like this that he was using the KGR for a client and basically had some insane, I guess, the quickness in which the posts were ranking was alarming. It was like minutes for some of the posts, and there's not much content on the site, about 20 articles, and it's a fairly competitive sort of niche area, which we talk about. And the site's getting 6,000 visitors per month, only 20 articles, and they've only been publishing like 1 to 2 articles per month over the last couple of years. So really slow burn, but it's been effective, and it's all, or primarily, I think it's like 90% keyword golden ratio, which is pretty cool. So we're starting to hit the end of time here, and I've been talking a lot this week, a lot. So I'm ready to give the voice a rest. So any other final questions? And I'll give a plug. I know a lot of people were joining sort of at the tail end. So if you missed the first part, I have a new course, multi-profit site. There's a link in the description. I'm not going to go into the full detailed pitch here, but there's a fast action bonus. There's 3 pretty significant bonuses. The bonuses end on Monday, June the 15th, midnight Pacific time. So you have a couple days. One of the items is limited in number. It is definitely going to sell out, and it's a 10-minute audit by me personally. I'll check out your site, answer your questions, let you know of any pitfalls, anything that maybe you need to fix that may be holding back your site. Again, limited number of those. That's like a $250 value, and the bonuses, it goes all the way up to like $1,200. It's very, very valuable bonuses. So check it out. Jaron, oh yeah, thanks for hopping on, man. It's always good when you join us for a live stream, and I'm glad you're adapting and all that stuff. Shoot me an email, man. I think I thought I sent you one, but I send a lot of emails and I get even more. But yeah, would love to hear what you're up to. All right, Talha says, would I recommend having many small articles of 1,000 words or combining related keywords to make 2,500 to 3,000? It depends on what you're trying to do. I think if the small articles fit well enough into a combined article and it makes sense to combine them, that is probably fine. If there are different audiences that kind of go to the small articles and 1,000 words is sufficient, then those are fine. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. Both of those are fine. Both of those have their place. And just as a blanket statement, I can't answer with any, certainty or anything helpful. So yeah, either one is fine, and it depends on what you're trying to do. Thanks, Jaron. Appreciate it. And I'll just I'll give a quick sneak peek. So I kind of alluded to it before. I've kind of like hinted at it here and there, but I got a little burned out with YouTube at some point. I got burned out with some of the live streams, the way I was structuring them, answering the same questions again and again. It got boring for me. It got boring for the people that would show up often, like Jaron and some other crew. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to cut these off for a while. And then I came back, reformatted it in a way that allowed me to control what was going on a little bit more. The other part is I was doing a lot of videos where I was maybe trying to pander to the analytics and maybe some of the topics that people just kept asking questions about because I knew people were looking for them. Of course, it gets boring doing the same ones over and over again. Hence, I got burned out a little, even though they were questions that people were asking. The other downside is, a couple of the questions, not to pick on anyone specifically here, but one of the questions earlier was something that I've kind of answered somewhere else. That happens on a live stream. It happens. It's cool to like have an interaction. Maybe we find something new, but a lot of times some questions are things that I've answered. I've already have a video. Maybe I already answered it on FAQs, and then someone asks again, and I'm like, I'm not going to do a video on that again. That doesn't make sense. So anyway, decided I was going to just publish YouTube videos that I wanted to publish. So live streams like this one. Another thing that I like is the long form interviews, like what Robin and I recorded the other day. So 30 minutes, hour and a half, whatever, long form interviews with people that are interesting. And then I'll chop up those interviews into smaller bite-sized pieces, which got some, they get some views, and the channel has been slowly growing, but I haven't really been doing I've done zero keyword research, people, zero. I'm just publishing these interviews. So I've been doing that for over 6 months now. And I think, once the smoke clears, once, the course launch is done, I'm actually going to revamp a little bit on Niche Site Project. There's a lot of sort of older articles about maybe it was 2 years ago. I did somewhat of a content audit and just got rid of content that was old or just irrelevant at this point in time. So I'm probably going to be going back, auditing Niche Site Project, getting rid of a bunch of garbage, hopefully publishing more often. And then once I get done with that, I'll probably be doing more YouTube videos where I'm actually doing keyword research, which it may honestly, it's a good crew here. So I know some people will be like, I kind of already understand that area, but I'm much better shooting the videos. And if I can get just a little more sophisticated with the video production, really in the form of B-roll. I mean, I think just B-roll and a little bit more just action in the videos will be very helpful. So I'll probably be coming back, doing some better videos. I may be spending a lot more time on the scripting and putting together the pre-production portion so that the end result is better. It takes a lot more time, and maybe I won't put out as many videos, but from a just YouTube growth standpoint, it could be very helpful. Now, some of these may actually even be topics that I've done before, but now I may have more information. Maybe I'm just better on video and I have more case studies. There's a few things that I may be able to like beef up for certain topics that we've already covered, but I may be able to do it better with more relevant, up-to-date information. So that should be good, and I'm hoping that'll help grow the channel a little bit more. So anyway, thanks everyone. Thanks for hanging on for so long. And if you want to help the channel, there's a couple things you could do. Subscribe. Jack just said you subscribed and you hit the thumbs up, so thanks a lot. Yeah, you could subscribe. The other part is just in general, you can check out the podcast too. So Doug.Show, I have a podcast, talk about a lot of the same topics. So if you kind of dig this stuff and you want to listen to the audio, it's not the exact interviews all the time, but sometimes I publish in both places. Sometimes it's just other topics. So anyway, have a good weekend out there, and we'll talk to you later.